This is Tom from Armada and you're watching Data Transmission TV. Yeah, I mean it's been quite a long process. We started in Andy's got a place out in France, and we took a band out there, and which is sort of the band that plays this live. And the first time we've ever done that, he's now got kind of quite a nice flash studio there, so we can actually sort of mic up drums, and you know we've never really done that properly before. So that was nice, and that's definitely going to be kind of where it's going to end up, I think. But where the album eventually comes after this will have that sort of liver sort of sound. And then finished it in a mad old rush last week in my studio in London, which is just in the basement of my house. It's a bit sort of chaotic, but we got there in the end. There's two songs that feature a girl called Becky, who's, I don't know her surname, but she goes under the name Sister Safer, I think, but she's in a band called the RGBs. There's one with a guy called Slater John, who's best known for doing Jump and Shout, and this one sounds quite a lot like Jump and Shout as it happens. And then another one's just a more of a sort of deep, very Balearic kind of house thing called something like El Padrino, I think. Names and things have been changing a lot, but that's those 4 tracks. It's a kind of, I think what we're going to end up doing with our album that we release sort of April, May is probably do 2 albums at the same time, maybe on different labels, but one will be much more sort of just straight up house, like dance music thing that will be quite reflective of stuff that we've been doing in Eden and Wonderland in the summer. And one will be sort of live stuff, which is, you know, reflective of the shows that we do with the band. Because I think, you know, in the past we've been guilty of trying to sort of squeeze too much onto records and it ends up sounding a little bit sort of all over the shop. So this is quite a nice way of doing things. So the way the EP's split in that way, the 2 tracks with Becky are much more bandy really. And then the Slater Joe and Louis, the El Padrino, definitely more sort of house end of group fun. They've kind of got 2 very different places. I think the band stuff will kind of, because of the fact that we're using a lot more vocals, stuff will just naturally be a more commercial sort of entity. I think the house album, you know, it's not even going to be sort of like superstar and sort of vibe stuff. It's going to be more, you know, we've basically been hosting the back room in Eden and been having sort of, you know, secret Sundays and sort of quite minimal stuff. And so the music we're doing is quite, it's that sort of vibe, you know, and it's been a frustration, I think, of being on a major for so many years that you just can't make music like that because A&R's and labels are just not interested in that at all. So it's been really nice just to go and make a house record which is sort of grooves that just chug that we like, you know, and that we believe in. So that it makes no sense to put them on the same. They're 2 utterly different projects, really. All the time, but I think you know, also just like anything, it's like, you know, we've been doing it for 12 years, I think you often get that sort of sense of like, you know, you've had a good run, and now it's time to sort of step back and then let somebody else have a go, but then you just keep getting drawn back to the studio, but you know, so yeah, definitely go through it all the time, but I kind of, you always find yourself, you sort of start having those thoughts and maybe you go do something else and then somehow there's always something else around the corner that just keeps you going. And right now I'm sort of excited about this what we do with the sharing thing. I'm excited about the sound of the 2 albums coming up. I'm really enjoying the residency that we're doing in Eden. I'm really proud of what we've done there. And actually we've sort of done this, we've been gigging and basically we sort of built the show up, which I think absolutely reaches peak when we close Glastonbury, which is like amazing. If you sort of see the footage back, it's stunning. But it's kind of that show and all the sort of the lasers and the screams and stuff, it just feels a bit tired to me. So I just want to have one more crack at a live show that just I'm excited about, and that you know, that makes me sort of feel like I really want to get up on stage and play. It's just about putting the sort of emphasis back on the music really, and sort of, you know, I think it's one of those things where it's just a bit less window dressing, you know, and I think we see a lot of bands play now, you know, bands that I sort of love at the moment, you know, like Classics or Friendly Fires or LCP, or you know, it's you know, the whole setup, the whole look and feel of it is just quite stripped back and sort of minimal stuff. You've got lights and strobes, and it's just the attitude of the music, you know. And so I think that one thing that we've got on our side is we're both decent musicians, and we've got lots of good musicians around us, so we should be able to give it a go and, you know, put on a show. I think we just get rid of all the old material and start again. You know, that's the plan. I think that, you know, in the past we've kind of gone out and worked with a lot of different people, and it's made the job of like putting it online complicated, you know. So I think this time around, you know, Becky, who's from the RGB, we enjoy working with her. We might work with 1 or 2 other people. There's a guy called Nick Little Noise in a band called Panau, I think we're going to definitely do a couple of things with him, and he's coming over to France a few weeks' time. He's already done a couple of things. He's brilliant. I mean, he's really. I think he's really got it. He's really
the one with the hair.
I think he's one with the big hair. Yeah, I've not even met him yet. I've just had bits of music sent back and forth, but I think he's really like a real special talent. And then there's a few other sort of quirky names I can't mention here because the deals aren't done, but some more like heroes of ours. One in particular who is a man.
Okay, alright,
and he might even play a Lovebox this year, but we haven't announced the lineup, so that's no clue.
Okay,
but anyway, something really exciting who feels sort of right, and that's about it. But apart from that, I think I'd like to focus it around, 2 or 3 contributors, keep it quite tight, and then the house album will probably, bring in a few of these MCs, work with people like Slaughter and Red Rat and all that sort of stuff we've worked with in the past, which is fun. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I mean, I think it's, it's quite weird. Like when I started doing it, it really reminded me of running tummy touch parties in Shoreditch 10 years ago, and that sense of nervousness. Like, I haven't had something that felt like my night for years. I've just been playing in clubs, and so that sense of standing there like 11:30 watching the queues, wondering whether it's going to happen, and then it was quite weird. You get your emotion involved in a way that gets quite stressful, basically. But it started sort of relatively slowly, but basically by the end, the last sort of 2 or 3 months, we were smashing it. We were getting like 3,500 in far. I think the balance worked really well. Pete Tom was in there, sort of people like Eric Prince doing that big main room thing, and that was great. And he's really DJing well. And then there was sort of me and Andy hosting the back room, lots and lots of interesting names to give a real balance. And all we did with the back room is. It was just strip it out, totally dark, stuck the Function 1 in and just made it all about the music. And we're definitely going back next year because, it just feels, I mean, I love the island anyway, but, we've been residents on the terrace in Space, and we played Amnesia, and probably the only place I haven't played, I'd love to play DC-10, and that's not even around next year. So there's no place I'd rather be. I think it's going to be tough next year. I mean, obviously at the moment, like the Euro, we get to pound makes it even doubly tough, but I think apparently that's going to drop and we'll be alright. But it's still going to be asking a lot for people to pay 35, 40 euros to come into a club and then pay 10 euros a drink. So I hope the club owners can be a bit less greedy this year, if they are. Because actually, we're not getting paid that much, so somebody's making a lot of money.
It's a big if, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a huge if, but if they don't, it will just at some point people will stop coming because it is an amazing place and there is nowhere else like it in the world. But at the same time, if it's going to cost you £1,000 to go out there for a week, then people just can't afford it. I mean, it's really lovely to do it because it's the music I love, and I haven't really had the opportunity in the last few years to play that kind of music because I always find myself, tend to my agent maybe sticks me up in sponsored events on stages like sort of Fatboy Slim business, where you just can't really get away with that sort of stuff because it's just too groove based and sort of chunky, So I love doing it, and I think what it is, I think in a weird sort of way, our reputation in Ibiza is very different to where it is in the UK. I think in the UK we're more household names, sort of charty sort of band, but I think in Ibiza we've been doing it for so many years. It's like a sort of it's just a weird place like Ibiza. It's got its own whole different language. So I think over there we've always been seen as people like playing some decent music out there. So by the end I felt like we were getting like a crowd, so I had to recognise a few people from the island were coming back and stuff. So building something a bit like the most like that funky room, obviously totally different music, but that sort of sense of like first name the funky room and passion, that kind of character, which is great. I mean that's the sort of club I love. I don't like playing to 4,000, 5,000 people. I play to 600-700 people and just gang up for it. Lots of stuff, as I said, I think the Empire of the Sun album's really lovely and really interesting, sort of, that sort of melodic driven dance music. I mean, that's right up there. I love the Friendly Fires records. I mean, the album, I think it's a very strong album. I love the new TV and the radio album. It's actually brilliant. Probably my favourite album of the year so far. I love that. It's got weird silence. That's stunning. I love them. I really actually love the Lovebox as well. They're great. I think it's just a really good time. I think sort of dance music's in a really good place. Sort of house music's really interesting and sort of chunky, and I love that, that sort of techno-y sort of stuff. It's all just, I can never remember the names because it just comes through and it's on my CD and I take it down and it's gone. But I think it's a really it's been, and it's, you know, for the last sort of years, 18 months, so much better than it's ever been. You know, like music, it's just so sort of exciting, and you know, we've got all these, you know, things like Little Boots and BB Brown, all these sort of girls with attitude coming through this year, which is interesting, Florence the Machine, all that sort of stuff. So, no, it's great. I mean, for me, like, I kind of fell out of love with music about 4 or 5 years ago. I was in a deal with a label called Jive, it was just horrible, and it just got to the point where I actually sort of couldn't even listen to any music for pleasure. You know, I just killed it. The last sort of 2-3 years, you know, I'm just an avid consumer of music again. I just love it, and you know, I can buy like, probably spend about £300 a week for music at the moment. There's just so much great stuff around, you know, and I can't even keep up with it, but it's great.